Guys, this video is sponsored by our friends at Element. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with a science-backed electrolyte ratio. 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium, and none of the junk. No sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. If you're on a keto, low carb, or paleo diet, or if you train or enjoy a few drinks on the weekend, Element can help restore electrolyte balance. If you're an athlete, listen up. When you sweat, the primary electrolyte lost is sodium. When sodium's not replaced, it's common to experience muscle cramps and fatigue. Element is used by NBA and NFL players, Olympic athletes, Navy SEALs, and me. So give it a try. Right now, Element is offering a free sample pack with any order. Try it 100% risk-free. If you don't like it, Element will give you your money back. No questions asked. You have nothing to lose. Go to drinklmnt.com/Chael Sonnen or just click on the link below. Suga Sean O'Malley, Pedro Munhoz, official prediction. Guys, what do you think? I'd love to hear from you. I won't weasel out of it. I'm going to take Suga Sean, but I would love to hear what you think. Pedro is a really good fighter. How good is Sean? I mean, that question's been floating around for a while. I think he's goddamn good. That's what I think. I don't think you can win 14 fights at that weight class. I don't think you can beat men on one foot, which he did with nearly no experience and still had the sense to tell Joe Rogan and the world, I love you, as he limped out of the ring. I think you can do it unless you're really good. One thing about Sean that you may not know is his speed. And the reason I word it like that, his opponents are the one that are coming out talking about it. They're talking about how quick he is, that he is a lot to do. And guys don't like to compliment Sean, right? Sean's coming after everybody. Guys are coming after him. It's very hard to put him over. Cheeto Vera got the W, and it is still all worked up. It's just one of these things where it's really hard to pay Sean a compliment, and his opponents are paying him the compliment. I mean, this guy's fast. You cannot see him coming. And that speed is generating power, and he's got length to boot. I don't think that Sean has ever looked as good as he did in his last fight. Now, Pedro, at least on paper, at least on experience, at least on being a cagey veteran, is going to be a pain in the ass. I understand those things, and I do think that that's relevant, because at some point, Sean O'Malley is going to underperform. Everybody does. Of course you do. Everybody will have a body of work known as a career, and they'll be able to point to here was my best night and here was my worst night, regardless of outcome. Now, what makes you underperform? What kind of things makes you underperform? Well, an injury. Injury never bothered Sean. Got to put that one behind us. Don't think it's fair to bring up. Coming into a fight that is just speculated about, that is this many eyeballs with this placement on the card, I don't know I'm buying into that. I don't know that the pressure's too much. He's not the main event. He's not even the co-main event. He's going to be one of the most sought-after guys. He did some of the most media and interviews, which is just evident of the fact that he is wanted and watched. I don't know that it's going to be a pressure cooker for him. However, everybody will go out there and something will catch him. Is this going to be the night that it catches Sean? Because if you are not on, and I mean on, you got a 15-minute fight, you got 15 minutes of work. Don't come out there for 14 and a half. Not against Pedro. Not against Pedro. You can land all the shots you want. He is not done fighting. Pedro's very tough. I do think that the speed is relevant. I could pay Pedro a ton of compliments. I can't pay him the speed one. I can't. Not over Sean. So what is Pedro going to do? One thing that we haven't seen guys try to do. Nobody's succeeded at, but they also haven't tried it, which is to take Sean down. Now, that isn't because nobody's had the light bulb go on in their head, right? The hamster's up on the wheel and never said, try to go take this long, lanky kickboxer down. It's not that. Sean keeps you at bay. He's a guy with reach who knows how to use it. You just don't have guys like that. Jon Jones is one of those guys. And then you would have to go, well, Dan Hooker happens to be one of those. And then you got to go all the way back to the 80s and find Tommy Hitman Hearns. Announcers love to give you a tail of tape till he's got the reach advantage. Reach has never been an advantage, and not to mention it has so little to do with a fight ever. I have no idea how CompuBox or FightStat or whatever in the hell that tail of the tape is. I have no idea how reach has survived the decades. like reach and height that both get mentioned have so incredibly little to do with the history of our sport, and I'm including boxing. But every now and then, you get that long guy, you get that Dan Hooker, you get that Tommy Hearns, you get that Suga Sean, you get that Jon Jones, that know how to keep you at the end. That's why he's not getting taken down, guys. Not to mention he's not afraid to threaten a knee right up the middle, not afraid to keep you guessing on it. So it's a really interesting thing. Like, Pedro is going to have to study the tapes of the other fights, and Sean has never looked better than his last fight. Is that good for Sean? No, I'm saying it's not. I'm saying it's good for Pedro. I'm saying a number of guys have walked in there with Sean and thought it was hype, thought it was a young man with a quick tongue and a few different colors in his hair. But after Sean's last performance, a stoppage, a dominant, all on his feet, a massacre, that is not the spot that Pedro's going to be in. And I do think people have underestimated Sean. I do. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think it's going to be a different fight. I think it's going to be a hard fight. Can Pedro get him down? Big deal if he can. I don't know the answer to it, neither do you. I'm telling you why other guys have not been able to take Sean down. Sean coming in with all the hype, coming in on this beautiful performance. Is that a good thing? Generally, you would lead to yes. There's always something in sport for momentum. In this sport, for some reason, when a guy has his absolute best performance, very seldomly does he run sideways or springboard from that. Very seldomly. When he has his absolute best performance, there's a dip. I could begin to speculate why, but it would only be speculation. But I could tell you by the numbers, by the charts, and by the graphs that my phenomenon that I'm bringing to you is true. Can Sean have a dip and still get over Pedro? Right? This is an interesting match. I'm taking Sean. I don't think that Pedro can get inside. I don't think Pedro can deal with the speed. I'm not positive that Pedro can go 15 minutes. The other side of the coin. Pedro knows exactly what he's getting into, and he's been in there with equally as tough of competition. That experience at some point helps you. Suga Sean versus Pedro Munhoz. I'm taking the Suga Show.